Welcome to the Growing Your Business podcast. I am Jacki, and this is...
I'm Rebecca.
And we are handmade business owners. I run a crochet business and a crochet YouTube channel. And what do you do?
I'm an artisan jeweler, so I do handmade jewelry in the fine and fine category.
So in today's episode, we are going to talk to you guys about how you know you are ready to actually start a handmade business. Whether you're doing crochet like me, jewelry like Rebecca, or something completely different. So let's just get this out of the way first. You'll never know if you're ready to start a business until you actually start a business, but there are a few things that you can check off so you know that you're well on your way to starting your business. The first is you should definitely know what you want to make to sell, and you should know your why for starting a business, and it should be a little more fleshed out than just I want to make money. If you don't like what you're doing or you don't have an interest in what you're trying to get off the ground, you're not going to stick with it, and therefore it's not going to be profitable anyway. So at least know why you'd like to start a business beyond the ability to make money with it.
I feel like that also segues really nicely into being adaptable to change as well, because you might start on one path and realize that, this is a good idea, but it's not what I'm feeling passionate about. I don't actually want to get up and do this. And so you might find something within that field that's what you want to do, but it's not what you originally started to do.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, because when I started my crochet business, I started in baby stuff. And now I don't make any baby stuff. I make plushies.
Yeah, and I started with super handmade beaded pieces, and I still make beaded pieces, but it's definitely more fine jewelry, fine jewelry. It doesn't look anything like what I first started with.
Yeah, it's less crafty, more like jewelry store kind of vibes.
Definitely a growing process.
Yeah.
Another point we should make is that you should understand that you need time and money to start a business. You don't have to be extreme with it, but you do need to know when you're going to have the time to do this. If you're working a full-time job and you're taking care of kids, if you have a very active social life, you have to know when are you going to plan time to do this, because otherwise you're just in the planning stage and you'll never make it to the action stage of it. And then where's the funds coming from? Is your job going to produce these funds? And if so, can your job actually do that? Is your job is all of your funds ending at the end of the month and you're working month to month and you're not able to make that money? Or are you able to save up a couple months ahead of time? How are you going to make that money kind of work for you so that you can make money back? If you don't put money in, you will not make money back.
And that's something very important to take note of. It does cost money, a lot of money, even for handmade businesses typically, to get started, so you definitely need something funding your business. You can even technically use credit, but unless you're fully aware of the financial landscape of whatever you're trying to get into, so you're quite sure you're gonna get that money back, we don't necessarily recommend that.
Well, yeah, because a big thing with credit is that this isn't your money, it's money you have to pay back. So if you don't have the money in the bank for it, there's no point in using credit, because you have to pay it back within a certain time. Normally that's the month to build that credit, otherwise you're tanking your credit, and your business credit is your personal credit. Your personal credit is your business credit. Especially in the beginning, they use each other.
Yeah, and when you're first getting started, for sure. So yeah, think strongly whether you want to do the credit game, and if that's your only option right now, maybe back burner your plans, just because credit can be a really dangerous game.
Yeah, and I feel like that's also a good point to make, that if you're already looking at your business and wanting to make money with it, you may already have this stuff because you started building it up as a hobby, and so now it's just a matter of guiding that hobby into where you can make further profit as a business.
See, I can't fully relate to that because I learned how to crochet, and then Delusion told me it was a good idea to immediately start selling it. So
such a trendy thing to say.
Everything, it really is, because how does that make sense? I don't know what I'm doing, but now I'm making things and I'm just monetize this.
But a lot of people do that. It goes both ways. Very rarely do you see somebody sit there and plan out the business otherwise. Normally it's the type of I want to do this and you just kind of dive head first. Or it's that I had a hobby, I really enjoy this, and now I'm making something of that hobby.
See, I've never been the person. I know there's a ton of crocheters in the crochet community that only have an interest in just crocheting. They're if I started selling it, I'd hate crochet. Why would I do that? But for me, I've never had just hobbies, unless you count just reading. I don't think there's really a way to monetize reading.
There is.
Though I've looked into recording audiobooks.
There's actually quite a few ways to monetize reading, but that's not what this podcast is about.
I learned how to make jam, and then I was let me sell a jam and jelly. You could do that under cottage food law. I learned how to I grew up cleaning houses. My stepmom was she worked for a company called Mary Maids, and then she went out on her own doing her own cleaning. So in adulthood, I've had a cleaning business because I just monetize anything that I can.
Well, so like mine was definitely a growing process, but like along the same mindsets because, and I do explain in the About Me that I wrote, I took photography classes and courses in like a formal setting in college and learned photography, and then I tied it back into my business. But when I was learning photography, it was to learn photography. I enjoyed it. The same when it comes to...
Can't relate.
Can't relate.
Photography is the bane of my existence. Like, ugh.
Well, the
terrible.
same with like social media marketing. Yes, I learned the marketing with the goal of furthering my business, but I do genuinely enjoy the intricacies of marketing. Do I enjoy posting? No. I don't think anybody actually enjoys that or having to like
Some
dive it back into
people
your stuff.
do. I don't understand, and it's so like effortless. And that's like how they can do it for their business because they like doing it. Whereas like I have a whole marketing degree, but I don't like it.
I like doing it. I don't like the posting portion of it. So I do like diving in the intricacies, learning the new ways, and keeping up with the way it moves and goes forward.
Well,
it's
I guess
changed
that's
a lot.
a good point. I like written type of marketing. Like back in the day when you just had to throw up like a post or like a blog about something, now everything's like media related, like video or pictures, and I'm like, this is not for me.
You sound so much older than you are.
Yeah, well, that's when I got into it. That's all it was, and I can draft like some copy like it's nobody's business. I like did that, monetized that for a long time.
Well, and that's part of the growing process too, because when I first started marketing, a lot of what exists now wasn't a thing. Instagram wasn't really a thing at all.
It wasn't. It was blogs. That was all back in the day. It was blogs.
Video blogging wasn't really a thing. It was kind of like in between.
Yeah, it went like
it was
blogs,
small.
then vlogs, and then like it grew into like a full-on social media, Instagram.
Yeah, and then platforms that were like off of each other and then buying into each other so that they would make more money because they want to profit too. Facebook was the thing, but it was definitely to connect with family and friends. It was not to promote your business.
Yeah, it started out as social media, and now it's like business media.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And at news media, it's how you get all your information too.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I see a lot on Facebook. And then you got to verify it because, like, the amount of times I've seen Justin Bieber has kicked the bucket, more than I can count on one hand. And the last major point that is, like, a big one comes with a little bit what she was saying about adaptability, but you also have to be, like, willing to learn. Because, as we were just talking about, the climate changes. You know, back in the day, it used to be all blog posts and websites. Now it's social media, it's, like, video content, it's pictures and things, so you need to be willing to learn that. And if you're not willing to continue to learn not only about your business but about how to like have a business in general, that's going to be really to the detriment of your business, put simply.
Well, and there's so much information out there right now, anything from books, if you like to read with like physical books, which I have quite a few in my office, or a lot of books for those kind of things, or social media posts. People like to post the how-tos on TikTok, podcasts like we have here, and like obviously our goal is we want you to listen to us. Yeah. We want you to listen to us, but we mostly just want to share our experience and how we made it to this point. Whereas you can find books that like outline the general basics on every little itty bitty thing. Some people like to super deep dive into things.
Oh yeah, I've got books specifically for like email marketing. I've got books for how to sell things.
And there's college courses on that stuff too. And then obviously there are people who offer training, which, you know, everybody's going to have their own opinion about people who offer social media training online.
If it costs you $10,000, don't do it. I don't know what else to tell you. It could be fantastic, but there is no world in which you need to pay $10,000 to get good at something. There's not. There's so much free resources on like YouTube
if you
and
go get a college
like in books
degree, or at least a half a degree for $10,000, and you could apply that to other areas in your life versus something where you're not even certified. And then it looks so much more impressive
too, to say like, you know, I have a whole college degree in marketing versus I paid $10,000 for a marketing course by somebody you've never even heard of.
That's pretty much it. Normally they have free stuff, and if you attend a free training and they tell you everything that you already know, likely it's not worthwhile for you to go further in. And it says a lot about how much research you've already done, and it kind of ties into the confidence that you need in yourself at that point to kind of like head forward.
But like anybody who's like on social media calling themselves a coach and does not have like
testimonials.
Yeah, the whole like, you're gonna be able to tell if somebody's like a scam, I feel like. I hope.
Well, and some people aren't scams too. Some people are social media coaches, and you've been in your business for so long, you've learned about things, you're like, this is super helpful information, but then all the information they're giving you are things that you already learned, and it was less about the information.
And it's like remedial stuff too.
Yeah. It's less about the information at that point. It's more about the confidence to go out and do it yourself. Or you already know the steps, but maybe the coach you need is the coach who's going to be there with you, an accountability coach, and you don't have to pay for that.
Yeah, you don't. You just get some friends.
Preferably friends who actually run businesses.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I do like accountability, like meetups more or less with you, and then I do that with Marty. Marty and I chat once or twice a week, specifically because Marty used to be my video editor for YouTube, but she also has a crochet business. So we meet and talk about like our crochet stuff. Like twice a week.
Yeah, and I do accountability with you, but then also held myself accountable by having my live videos on Whatnot that are twice a week. I show up to those in pretty much any state that I'm in to make something, to talk, to do business chats. That's my accountability. I show up and those people expect me to be there. So if I'm not there, it throws your accountability, it throws your credicy kind of down.
Yeah, and that's also why I don't do lives, because that's a lot of pressure, because I do pre-recorded videos that I put out whenever I get to it.
I like lives, and I do feel the pressure. Anybody who tells you they don't feel pressure when they're doing lives is lying.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care. They're gonna say, no, we're not lying. It's stressful, very least in the beginning, let alone as you keep going. And when you try something new, so there's a difference between doing a live where you're working with your hands and all they see is your equipment and stuff around you, or where it's like pointed down where you can't see your face, and a live where you're looking at yourself and you're talking to yourself, but there's an audience there. There's also a difference between doing a live where there's a bunch of people in the chat that are helping you keep it going versus you're literally talking to yourself.
To yourself, yeah. And it might as well be talking to a wall, because
and hoping people
your 12 whole people there are like saying nothing.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, that's almost worse than if there's 0 people in the audience.
If there's 0 people, you just kind of get in and work. But if there's like 10 people, but like nobody's saying anything,
you're talking
I'm like,
to people.
do you guys want to be here?
Well, and you could always do like a sound off message in that case too. Like a lot of times I'll be like, just let me know if you can hear me. That way I know like you're actually here, and then I will just keep talking, and But like if you're just sitting around, you're not saying anything. It's kind of
Yeah, it's awkward. It's awkward for us. Just so you guys know.
It's more awkward.
It's terribly frightening.
That's okay.
It
can be awkward occasionally.
I've done like 1 or 2 lives on my own channel, and then I hopped in with you on that live that one day, and you like disappeared for like a couple of minutes because your phone died, and I'm like, oh, panic. What are we talking about?
I could do literally a whole course on how to keep your devices from dying, because it happens frequently when people do live videos, not just myself but everybody, because it's like the #1 thing that kills the battery of your phone.
Oh yeah,
so fast.
Sucks it down so fast.
Yeah.
So that was going to be it for this podcast. We talked a lot about how you're ready. You should know like what you're going to sell and like why you want to sell that. You should be aware of like the financial and time constraints that go along with starting a business, because if you have no money and no time, you're likely not in the position to start a business, and you can maybe move things around to get to that point, or you just might need to accept that this is like not the season of life to start your business. And then as long as you're open to learning, we think you're on a good starting path to start your own handmade business as well.
Well, and even if you're not ready to start now, it's still a good path, and you can continue listening to further episodes down the road so that you can kind of get to the point where you would be ready to start, jump in, and just keep going.
Yes, this is the very basic groundwork. So if you're up to this point or getting up to this point, you're definitely like on a good path. Yeah. And if you are past this particular point, be sure to come back for the next episode where we are talking practical tips and resources for actually starting your handmade business.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Rebecca, and this is
Jackie. And we will talk to you in the next one.
Yes. We could do bloopers.
Yeah. We should. It'll be funny.
See how this works behind the scenes.
Yeah. See what it looks like when you're not a professional podcaster.
No. What are you doing?
I'm just like leaning back, trying to.
I mean, half the time I am leaning back and I'll put my feet underneath me. Those chairs are great for it.
Yeah, I can't.
Holy.
I thought it was over.
Yeah. The nearest hospital is 45 minutes away, and the boys took all the vans.
And I was really honestly thinking, I'm like, this is going to be really bad because it's every table, so I'm about to get pancaked. Oh, goodness. Okay. All right. Shake it out. So how are we going to start this? You don't shake it out? I shake it out. I tell my kids all the time, okay, let's get the wiggles out.
I was just thinking about the bloopers. Well, we could practice an introduction.
Yeah, let's just wing it. What's our podcast called? Okay.
Well, how do we ever get anything done?
Okay. I got it. I start, right?
Yes.
I start? Okay.